Peace, family. This is Dr. Kia Pruitt, and today I want to come to you with a concept called win win. Now, this concept is very important because when you're communicating with someone or you're trying to solve a problem, sometimes the temptation is to not try to reach an agreement. And today I want to talk to you about a principle that's very important because it can help resolve conflict and it can help us live peaceful, joyful lives. So, I'm on this mission to raise our vibrational frequencies and help us cultivate our joy. So, what is win win? When you think of a win win mentality, that means that you're coming from a place of trying to reach a decision where I'm happy and you're happy. That you may be your companion, your friend, your co worker, a loved one, or just anybody in general. So win-win would first mean that you have to come from an abundance mindset or a mentality where you know that both people can be happy. Yes. So we've talked about that before, the difference between an abundance mentality and a scarcity mentality. So on this side, a scarcity mentality would kind of come from a place of um, I know this isn't going to work, a place of lack, a place of scarcity. Whereas an abundance mentality comes from a place of positivity and happiness and joy, surplus, knowing that there's more than enough and that a solution can be reached. Now, there are four ways of thinking in this particular video. There's lose, 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 win, lose, and win, win. Now, Stephen Covey came up with the fifth one, which would be win, win, or no deal. So the lose lose would be coming from a framework or a mind of thinking where, it doesn't matter what happens. I'm not going to be happy, and neither are you. So we're not even going to discuss this. I'm done with it. I'm just going to walk away. I'm going to just not even communicate with you, and it can't happen. That would sound like a scarcity mentality. So that's lose lose. Lose win would be no matter what happens, I'm going to lose. I'm not going to be happy. You're always looking out for yourself. You're going to be happy. So, it doesn't matter what happens. I'm going to lose. I'm going to be the one that come up from the short end of the stick. So that's lose lose, that's lose win. And then there's win lose, where no matter what happens, I'm just looking out for myself. I'm going to be happy. Forget about you, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, where you're coming from. It doesn't matter. As long as I'm win, as long as I'm happy, as long as I come away with this discussion or this idea being the one on top, that's all that matters. That would be win lose. Win would be that you and I communicate and we go back and forth and we discuss things until we both are happy. Now, when you come from a win win mentality, you have an abundance mentality. You know a decision can be reached, and you'll do whatever it takes, and you'll go back and forth and be as loving and as kind as possible as you can until you reach a decision or a solution where you both can agree and be happy. Now, win or no deal would be, look, we're going to keep talking and going back and forth until we're both happy, or we're just going to no deal. We're just going to walk away and just put this on the table and leave it until such a time as we can both come and reach an agreement. The reason why it's important to come from a win-win paradigm or thinking or mindset is because too often people give up on relationships, give up on discussions, give up without even trying to reach an agreement. But in this new reality that we're creating, where we're living happy, we're raising the frequencies of the planet, we're raising the frequencies in our relationships, we're raising the frequencies in ourselves and in our companions. We're doing whatever it takes to reach an agreement so we both can be happy. And that's important in order to have good, solid, positive relationships in this new reality that we're creating. So let me give you an example. I was in a situation where one of my sons and I were both sharing a car. At the time, we only had actually we had two cars, but one son was working a lot, and he had to be away from the house to do that. So then it was my other son and I who was sharing a car. Well, my other son needed to work, and I'm a stay-at-home person. I'm retired, but he needed to work, and I needed the car also because I was raising my granddaughter who wasn't in school yet. She was below the age of 5, so I think she was like 3 or 4 ish. And so he had the car a lot. Um, and I needed the car to get groceries, to pay bills, to take my granddaughter out. And when I had my other grandchildren, to take them out, to go to the museum, to go to the beach, and do fun things that we like to do. But it got to the point where his hours were increased and he had the car all the time. And by the time he got home, we were tired. I didn't have time to go out to get the groceries. So yeah, I was managing the home and making sure everybody was eating well and thriving. The bills were paid. That's the agreement that we had come to, that I would be the one, since I was retired, to make sure those things happen. And so I was okay with that. In fact, I agreed to that. But what was hard for me was I didn't have use of the car. And then when his hours increased, he was away from the home a lot. So what that did for me is it made me feel unappreciated for the work that I was doing to keep the house running smoothly. And I was feeling sad. I was starting to feel some sense of, I don't know what the word is called, where you're feeling like, gosh, not appreciated. And I was starting to harbor like a feeling like I'm never going to be able to use this car, and it's made me feel resentful. That's the word I'm looking for. But nobody wants to feel that way about a loved one, especially not a child to whom you gave birth, right? And I wanted him to thrive. He had a fiance who he was trying to take care of, and he wanted to get on his feet. He had bought a home in Brazil, and so he was trying to make enough money to also have some things to secure in the States for he and his family. So the way my family dynamics are is I believe that the children stay in the home until they are ready to launch out. And so we all live together. And so I needed to use this car, and I thought I need to have a conversation with my son where it's not like, I don't want you to work, because of course I want him to work to be able to provide, but I needed a car so I could function as the grandma and as the one that was making the house run. So I'm just doing a little self-disclosure so you can see how this works. So my son's hours were increasing, which meant he needed the car more often than not. And so he would come home at 7 or 8, and I I wasn't able to do the things that I needed to do to make sure I was in a happy place, or my grandchildren. So I could walk to a store that was close by, or even take what do you call Uber or something. But the stores that were best for me, the health food stores and things, the whole food stores, they were further away, and I really needed some sense of independence. So when my son came home really tired one time, we had a discussion, and I said, "Son, like, I know you need the car, the use of the car, and I appreciate the things that you're doing to make sure your family is happy and that you're taking care of your family. And I love you. I raised you well, and I'm so proud of you." I said, "There's just one thing that we need to discuss about the use of the car, and that is when you're away from the house, long hours, and now even on the weekends, that doesn't allot me the time to be able to do the things that I need to do. So I'm coming to you to ask you, what can we do uh, to make sure that you have use of the car and I also have use of the car until we're able to buy another car for the family?" And so we went back and forth in our discussions until we reached an agreement and a decision. And so what he said was, "You know what, Mom? I don't have to work all these days or all these hours. What days would you like to have the car?" So we talked and we talked, and I said, "If you can work these hours and these days, and I can have use of the car these, the other days, and this portion of the day, that would be good for me." And then he said, "Well, I really need this day and this time." I said, "You know what, Mom? Now that I think about it, I can take Fridays completely off." And I can reduce my hours on the weekend. I don't have to work all of these hours. This is how much I need to work in order to sustain my bills. And I said, well, that's great because I can have Fridays to use the car to do such and such a thing. And then, these hours in the weekend. So if you go early in the morning and then I have the day, the afternoon portion of the weekend, that would be amazing. So we went back and forth and we dialogued and discussed until we both were happy. Now, that's what a win win mentality does. A win win mentality or paradigm says we both can be happy and we're going to sit and discuss what we need to do until we both reach an agreement or decision so that everybody's happy. So a lose lose paradigm would have been like, just forget about it. I'm not going to even have this discussion with my son, or it could have been a husband or anybody else. I'm just going to go ahead and accept defeat and let them win. And what happens is then you build up resentment, or you have the potential to build up anger, resentment, pain, and even those negative emotions that could lead to a breakdown in a relationship. Win-win would have been coming from a place where I'm just going to say, I'm taking that car, I'm the mother, I'm the parent, I'll make a decision. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure I'm happy. Or he could have said, look, I'm just have to work, you're just going to have to deal with this, and we're just going to have to make sure I win. So we talked about lose, lose, or I'm sorry, lose, win, lose, or lose, lose would have been just forget it. You're not going to work. I'm not going to take care of this house or do anything for the family. The car just to sit and we're both going to be unhappy. We're not going to even have this discussion. Just forget about it. Believe it or not, some people do come from a place of lose lose, and that's how you just have a breakdown fully, and then the car is just sitting there being unused because you don't want to be mature enough to have a discussion. Then, of course, you have win win. When you have a discussion, you go back and forth until you reach an agreement. Win win or no deal would be you listen, we're going to have a discussion about this and we're going to go back and forth and talk and maybe have even disagreements, be uncomfortable even if we have to until we reach an agreement. Or a no deal. We'll just come from a place of right now, we know we want to make sure we're both happy. So we're not going to even have a discussion. Win win or no deal. This is how we're going to do it. No deal. Nothing's going to get resolved, but we're just going to lay it on the table until we're both able to come back and have a discussion. But in the meantime, we're trying to figure out what we can do to reach an agreement. This is something that I think is very, very important, even in relationships where you maybe have a spouse or a loved one, a companion, and you might be trying to make a decision about a vacation. Maybe you want to go to Sweden. Maybe your companion wants to go to Africa, and you don't know what to do because you only have one vacation. Well, in that situation, you will go back and forth and discuss which one you should do, because you both might want to really go to your different destinations, but one I don't want to say it's not more important to another, but one might make more sense when you're having a discussion and going back and forth to decide which one you're going to do this time, and then you'll go and do go to the other destination another time. But let me tell you something, when you genuinely love your child, when you genuinely love your companion, when you genuinely love yourself and the person with whom you're having a conversation, you will do whatever it takes. You will take as much time as it takes to go back and forth and have a discussion, an assertive discussion where you're speaking in a way where you're not being aggressive, but you're just speaking your truth, and you will go back and forth until you reach a decision where you both can be happy. And sometimes that might mean you don't get your way, but you genuinely love that other person and you genuinely are okay with what you agree upon, so that when you come back and you discuss this decision or this solution, this problem again, then you can do something where it will be in your favor. But let me tell you, when you love that person, even if Even if you haven't come to the place where you get everything that you want, you find a middle ground or a ground where you genuinely are okay with the decision. So that's all I want to discuss today. Think win-win. Think about reaching a solution where you're happy and I'm happy. And even if that means I don't get everything I want, as long as we agree upon it, as long as we're both okay with it, we can walk away then both being happy and joyful and abundant. And in my situation, when my son and I had that discussion, we actually hugged each other and we're happy that we had a discussion because it was a point of contention. You could feel the tension. I need to work. I got to make this money. I have to take care of the situation. And on my end, I need to make sure that the house has the bills paid, the food provided, the food cooked, the grandchildren out where they can be around other children and be happy and run around and actually have their needs met and have their appointments satisfied. So we were both so happy, and that underlying tension that had been there was resolved and it melted away. It faded away, but we both had to be mature enough to have the discussion, and we both had to have a win-win mentality. Even if one of us didn't, as the mature person, or as the mom, or as the one who understands these communication skills, I was the one to sit down to have the discussion. So the other person that you're thinking about, who maybe you're in conflict with, may not have this skill, but you do. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening to my videos. And I encourage you to go back and listen to the video where I talk about the 4 communication styles: aggression, being passive aggressive, being passive, and then being assertive. The assertive way of doing things, or even of speaking and communicating, is the best. And I encourage you to listen to that video because it will help you when you have a discussion and you're trying to reach a decision where you both can win, right? So we're going to win. We're going to win. You're going to win so much that you're going to get tired of winning. And even if you get tired of winning, you're going to win some more, because we're raising the vibrations in ourselves. We're raising the vibrational frequencies in our families, in our communities, in our society, and eventually in our world and on our planet. And that's all I have for you today. I love you. My name is Dr. Kia Pruitt, but they call me Mama Kia. Listen to Mama now, okay? Because Mama knows best. Mwah. I love you. Bye.